Okay.
What's up, fellas? Let me just confirm. All right, how are we doing? Happy Tuesday. I'm Chuck Silver. This is Smitty. We're here with Occupy Fantasy. Um, Hold on, it's not showing. Yep, we are here with Occupy Fantasy. We have a cute little three-gamer. We didn't think it was such a great slate, and then Keyshawn George got ruled out, and so that gives us some interesting decisions to make on Washington, because I think the rest of the industry is kind of guessing. We are too, but we're just going to hope that we guess better than them. A lot of guys we want to pay up for, a lot of chalk value. I mean, it's only a three-gamer, but we'll try to find the edge. Smitty, how are we doing today?
Yeah, pretty good. You pretty much described it. This slate's it's kind of good now. I think it's a good slate for tournaments. If I was just building one lineup, I think it'd be pretty difficult. But playing multiple lineups, it seems like a good slate.
Yeah, it's I mean, just we'll sort by DK ownership here. We got Jalen Johnson projected for 60% ownership on both sites. I have more than that in both my exposures for the site, so we'll see how that turns out. Drummond, Mega Chalk. I already know what Smitty's going to say about that. You have an opinion?
No, I actually think Drummond's pretty good.
Okay. I didn't get quite to this 43%, but I'm trying to jam in Johnson, Maxi. Where's Luca? Luca's down here projected for 23 and 27%. It's really hard to fit him in. He hasn't been playing great, but he's been shooting really poorly. So I'm kind of just going to try to play as much as I can and hope that he shoots much better. I'll mention the model thinks he's probably one of the worst point per dollar plays on the slate, though. So if you're not getting to Luca, that seems fine. Anything else you want to mention on overall slate before we get into the teams?
No. The one thing with Luca, though, I will say is he's one of the few players on this slate that can go out and put up a score that you have to have. So I think
Mhm.
it is important to get some of him in your portfolio.
Yeah, there are a lot of like Maxi and Jalen Johnson are projected kind of insane around the industry today, so they're going to show up a lot in optimizers. And then, like I said, I bumped Luca up like 6 fantasy points, and I'm only getting with the field right now. And so I think it's a good thing. It's like Smitty said, he could just have the highest raw points on the slate, and you just need those raw points. Maybe one of these or even both of these studs kind of fail. And, a lot of it is just hitting the right value today is going to be key.
Yep.
What's up, Ben, Heath, Rick, Brandon, Luke? Yeah, the last 2 days have been brutal. Yeah, dude. On Saturday, I think last time I was on the slate with Jayhawk, I took down a mini max on DraftKings, the 5 cent on FanDuel, and I got second in the quarter on FanDuel by 1 point. So that was a good day. We'll try to do that again today.
Yeah, that'd be nice.
Any love for Salas or Gordon?
No.
Are those players on this slate? I legit have no idea who either of
Yeah,
these guys are asking about.
that'd be like the 9 and 10 for Philly.
Salas is not in the model. Who's Gordon? Is that Eric Gordon?
Yeah. Yeah.
Holy smokes, I haven't heard that name in a year. That could be a deep possibility. I think Smitty and I were both really looking at Jared McCain, though. We kind of thought, like, I don't believe these ownerships. I'm pretty sure he's going to come in closer to 30 now. But I think we both think he's one of he was at least one of the overlooked kind of value plays. Now he might not be.
Yep.
First three rosters tonight on DraftKings for me, I believe it is Jalen Johnson. I need to rerun my stuff. I know Jalen Johnson's in there. Smitty, do you have a 2 and 3?
Yeah, Jalen Johnson, probably Corey Kispert if he starts,
Yeah.
and then Porzingis.
Yeah, my DraftKings stuff is super messed up right now, but on FanDuel, pretty similar. Jalen Johnson, Corey Kispert, and Jalen Suggs actually, and then
Yeah.
Tyrese Maxey round out the top four. Jalen Suggs, man, that 6,500 price is a little scary, but I haven't projected like extremely well today. Is this the first game? Can we just start with that one?
No, second game.
All right, we'll hold off on the Jalen Johnson discussion. But the first game, Hawks Wizards. Let's start with the Hawks. Give the model another couple minutes to update the Wizards, guys. Let me refresh this. But we already talked about Jalen Johnson. Are you pretty on board even at his crazy ownership? Oops.
Yep. Hard to get away from Jalen Johnson. I have way more than the field does. He's pretty much a key piece in my lineups. Um, I don't know. I might change that as we get to the slate. Like I might even it out a little bit more. But he looks great. Can't really poke any holes.
Yeah, it's just a matter of that ownership. But I mean, I haven't projected well enough to show up in basically everything. Um, Porzingis is over here. Remember the model on Saturday? I wasn't really into it. Shipped that those tournaments without Porzingis, by the way, on DraftKings anyway. He put up 50 fantasy points. We were talking about we're not sure, but the model was really kind of liking him for value on that site. His price came up a little bit, still projected for heavy ownership. Model still likes him for value though. Did you? Are you over on Porzingis right now?
I am. I have a lot of Porzingis, and another thing to mention is the model's probably. I mean, that's an okay median, but we've seen his minutes come up to. I think he played 33 last time out, so I would almost go to 30 minutes on him. This is a must-win game for Atlanta, so it's actually a pretty important game. Okongwu is there, so kind of limits him a little bit, but we've seen them play alongside each other. But when Porzingis is out there, he's really productive. It's all about the minutes for him. So going against Washington, give me 30 minutes of Porzingis feels pretty good.
I'm glad you mentioned that before we go any further. This is an NBA Cup day. You had some thoughts about maybe how that could affect how teams run rotations.
Yeah, Atlanta is basically they need to win the game, and point differential matters. So you could see it pretty tight there, maybe an extra minute or two, especially for their main guys like Johnson, Porzingis, Nickel Alexander Walker, and then Washington's kind of out of it. If they won, they could possibly still make it, but they need a lot to go right. And then Orlando is this is actually a really important game for them, plus point differential. So wouldn't worry too much about the blowout, and you should see pretty secure minutes for all these dudes. And then if Goga gets ruled out, you see the rotation tighten even more. So I feel pretty good about Orlando guys. Philly kind of has an outside shot, but they're still going to try and win. And then the Clippers Lakers is really important. Lakers, I think they can clinch it with the win, but either way, it's really important for them. They're both 2-0, and point differential is also going to matter. So that game should be really competitive, and we're also not getting very much ownership in that game, so it makes it pretty appealing.
Yeah, that one's tough because LeBron's back and it just kind of screws up the rest of the Lakers pricing. Also, none of the other Lakers really produce fantasy points outside of the top three. So,
No.
but let's get back to Atlanta. So you like Porzingis, I like Porzingis too. It looks like I am over on him today. And like Smitty said, these 27 minutes are kind of low. And I've talked about it before. Let's say you want to project him for 30. Going up to 30, you're increasing it by what, 11%? Is that right?
Yeah.
Whatever it is, just increase the OF index, the DK value by 11%, add another, call it 1.4 here. He's going to show up as a top value on this team with those extra 3 minutes. So that's a pretty, that could be a pretty big edge that a lot of the industry is not going to see. Because like, I want to talk about this too. We've been talking about it. They have been so like the field has been so reliant on industry projections and optimizers and just taking what it gives us. Like with Jalen Smith yesterday, after he was ruled out, I still think he was a fine play. But I just don't know. Like the minutes might not be adjusting enough. They're just giving these chalk guys, these poor, risky chalk guys, I think just too high of projections, and they're making their rates too high. They're adjusting them when they're starting or in a bigger role, which they probably should be. But I just want to say, be careful with going super overweight on these guys. Like, uh, you have any more comments on that?
Yeah, I agree. I feel like it has to do something with that, and then they're also just kind of being safe. Like what they put out there is it has to be the safe route. Like they can't take stands like
Mhm.
you can on your own. So I think it's important, even if you're using like a different optimizer or projections, to make adjustments for leans or say like Porzingis, if you think he's going to play more minutes, bump him a fantasy point or two, and that's a good starting point at least.
Yeah, and if you're, using traditional projections with whatever optimizer and you're watching the show using the model, when the model identifies things, just give the guys an extra fantasy point or two. Be careful, like rerun it, see what you end up with to make sure you don't get 100% or something like that. But like I think that it's really good to take some stands.
Yep.
What else are we looking at over on Atlanta? Dyson Daniels projected for modest ownership over on DraftKings. I'd be interested in that. And Nikhil Alexander Walker, I think he's a fine play on most slates, but I'm not as interested today. Do you feel the same?
Yeah, I think he's fine if he ends up in a lineup, but personally would just rather play Suggs at the same price, even though they're not the same position. But lean Suggs, but I'm fine with any Alexander Walker I do get. Currently, about with the field on him.
I am about half the field on Nickeil Alexander-Walker, and I have him projected pretty well. It's just, like I said earlier, I guess I'm going really stars and scrubsy tonight, so it's really hard to fit in many of these mid-range guys. Like, I am a lot higher on Jalen Suggs than I am on Nickeil Alexander-Walker.
Yeah.
It feels like Suggs could definitely like burn us harder than Nickeil could, but I think Suggs' ceiling is just a lot more. It's a lot higher.
Yep.
Embiid is warming up. So we got Embiid going through shoot around earlier, and then a couple hours later they told us he was out, and now he's warming up. They would tell us if they were changing that though, and this is not the first game. Why was he warming up 2 hours early?
I
Maybe
don't
they're
know.
testing it out again. Yeah, that would be a super slate changer because we're kind of relying on Philadelphia for a lot of the value today. Let's
Yep.
talk about Washington. Refresh the model one more time. I guess we didn't mention Okongwu or Ricochet. Not too interested in Okongwu, but I think Ricochet is actually fine as a value pivot since all the other value guys are way more popular.
Yeah. Yeah. You could do worse if he gets you what you need. I think it's fine. Better on FanDuel, but DraftKings kind of hard at his price.
Yeah, I'm probably not getting there on DraftKings. I think I had like 6 or 7% in my last FanDuel run, so not even with the field, but I'm okay with him in my exposures.
Yep.
We'll go. Oh, Paul has a comment on Atlanta. Hard to fade Atlanta if Kennard is out. I mean, yeah, Kennard leaves some minutes on the table, but he's not like pulling out so much from what's going to happen on the court that we're going to boost everyone on Atlanta, and it's going to get our exposures way up. Maybe a couple guys go up, like Nas minutes might be a little more secure. Maybe I'll like him a little bit more then.
Yeah. It could help Vit a little bit too.
Yeah, four Atlanta players is a must. I think that's a big mistake on today's slate. It's just really restrictive to say four Hawks in your lineup because you're looking at what Jalen Johnson, probably Kristaps, Nah, Okongwu would be like the four obvious ones, and that's just asking for a lot to happen. I know they're playing Washington, but we just have too many good plays on this three gamer to make a declaration like we want four Atlanta guys. Like I don't know if I got four Atlanta guys in any of my 150 on DraftKings.
I don't.
Why do sites have him beat out and now you see him on the floor? Because they told us he wasn't going to play. So we'll wait on word to see what's happening there. Kennard is in. All right, so it doesn't even matter. But we'll move on to Washington. I think this is probably the most interesting team on the slate with Keyshawn George out now. So, Smitty, tell us about the Wizards.
Oh man, thanks for that. Yeah, Wizards are missing some bodies. Kyshaw George is out, which has kind of been their leader right behind Sar. Marvin Bagley's also out, which is Sar's backup. So yeah, we're going to see a lot of Washington pieces in our lineups to be able to fit some of these higher price guys. Corey Kispert is who I'm expecting to start. He did last time. Getting to quite a bit of him right now. I think he looks pretty good. 4K shooting guard, small forward on DraftKings seems like a pretty solid play. FanDuel he's even cheaper, so makes it pretty tough. What this also does too is kind of secures the minutes for Cam Whitmore, which has shown a big ceiling. They just haven't given him the minutes, but I know over the past like week or so, he's been like a 1.3 fantasy point per minute. So if there's any possibility he could get to even just 20 minutes, he seems like a really good play. Carrington's drawing ownership. He's the one I would prefer to kind of get away from, but I'm still getting to a lot of him because, like you said, I want to play some of these higher price guys, and he just kind of makes it work. Champagne's minutes are more secure now that they're missing Trey Johnson, too. I forgot to mention he's out. And Kyshawn George kind of helps the role for Champagne, or at least the minutes. And then you kind of have the vets there, like CJ McCollum, I think is an okay play with all these dudes out, especially Kyshawn George. Going to have the ball in his hands a little bit more. And then Sar, I don't know. Last time he started, he played 28 minutes. If he can get up to 30 minutes, which he was before injury, I think he's a pretty solid play. Kind of a pivot to Porzingis. So I don't mind getting to some Sar. After that, um, Koulibaly, I know we kind of talked about him a little bit. I think as a tournament play, he's fine to get to, but not too much interest in anyone else, including Middleton.
Yeah, I'm pretty much on the same page as you on every single player you mentioned. I do think Koulibaly is pretty interesting as a tournament play, though. We have him projected for 28.5 minutes at low ownership. Everyone else on this team is going to be much more popular, and the model is like everyone on this team is a good value, right? But the model's telling us Koulibaly is a pretty good value, and we're getting him at, this is one of the only low owned spots on the slate that has the potential at least to give us the score that we're looking for. So I don't mind getting to a little bit more Koulibaly than the field, and I'm with you on Middleton. It's just so difficult because his price, especially being shooting. Why is Middleton a power forward on DraftKings?
Yeah, it's weird.
Um, but Middleton being a shooting guard on FanDuel is really useful. I found that to be the position I had the most trouble filling. It just pretty much defaulted to Jalen Suggs in most of them, and then you still have to find one other player. As for Justin Champagny, so this is interesting. With Trey Johnson out, I think it's really good for, and we're going off kind of a small sample, but I think it's better for Cam Whitmore than anyone else here. I think Cam Whitmore has a lot more ability to take over a game than Justin Champagny. The model is telling us that's not what it is because the model has a Champagny and Whitmore at pretty much the same minutes projection, but Champagny showing up as the better value. So what do you think about these ownerships on Champagny versus Whitmore? I know I'm definitely interested in that 10% over on FanDuel for Whitmore, but how do you feel about DraftKings?
Yeah, I think they're fine. Currently, I'm about with the field on Champagne and then over the field on Whitmore. Just think Whitmore has at least a more secure minutes role. He's a young player they kind of just got for free. They kind of want to see what he has. They know what Champagne is. Like I think his minutes are fine, but I think Whitmore, if he does get more run, he could actually do a lot more.
Yeah, and back to that raw points thing. The thing is, Champagne's only 3,200, so even if he has like a bad game, which would I don't know, what's a bad game for Champagne? Like 14 or 15. Like
Yeah,
if he helps you, the guys that like Jalen, Maxi, Luca, or LeBron, whoever else is a pay up on this slate goes off, and you just need those guys in your lineups because no one scored points, then that's how Champagne can help you as well. So it's not just we need him to put up a good score, but he really helps us build our lineup. So no matter how much I lower him, I'm still getting almost with the field on Champagne as much as it feels bad and I don't want to do it.
yeah. Carrington's the same way for me. I keep
Yeah.
bringing him down, and he still shows up. So it's just kind of dudes that you have to play.
Well, thinking about so with Keyshawn George out, Trey Johnson's out. It just makes a lot more sense to me that Cam Whitmore and even Champagne fill that missing whatever's missing from Keyshawn and Trey Johnson more so than Carlton Carrington because Bub Carrington. Um, because they still have CJ McCollum and Chris Middleton's here too to help carry the ball. So it's like Bub is almost kind of in the same position that he has been the last few slates, but again, it's just this 3,300 price on DK helps us build lineups.
Yeah, yeah. And another thing too is it kind of helps these guys too, like Champagne and Cam Whitmore off the bench. Just they're not around high usage players. Bub's not a high usage player, so it kind of helps Whitmore, even though he comes off the bench. Just be around those guys. Like Kispert's going to be with Sar, CJ, so it kind of hurts him a little bit. But I do think Whitmore's when he's out there, he's going to be producing.
And then last one I'm gonna throw at you because this is what was throwing off my DraftKings exposures. For some reason, I got like 80% of Tristan Vukcevic, 3,400 center. He burned us when he was chalk starting. Sar is in. We have Vukcevic for 17.4. I mean, this is basically all the center minutes between him and Sar. You mentioned Sar did not play as many minutes as we were hoping for. I still love Sar as a pivot to even Porzingis if we look at their DK values. Sar is actually a better points per dollar play than Porzingis, even at the higher price, according to the model on DraftKings. On FanDuel, Porzingis has the edge because of the price, but just wanted to mention that. But Vukcevic, I know I'm not going to play nearly as much as it was trying to give me, but how interested are you?
Yeah, I don't mind him. I think it's kind of hard because he's center only, so pretty much out of my pool on FanDuel. But on DraftKings, I think you can definitely consider him. Like you're playing a backup center, or you could play Bub Carrington. So I feel like Vukovic is going to be at least more productive when he's out there. But the only problem is how many minutes does he play? If Sar or if this game does blow out, then I think he looks even better. But they could also go small, possibly. I don't really know who would play the five, but um, I don't know. I think he's fine, but not someone I want to jam in.
Yeah, I'd be surprised if one of Vukcevic or Sara wasn't on the field or on the court at all times. As for who else could play center, I mean, Koulibaly if Atlanta goes small with Jalen Johnson at center for a couple minutes, maybe.
Yeah, they have Anthony Gill too. I guess could play a few minutes.
Okay. And then
So
before we move on to the next game, that comment about four Atlanta players. So I did have zero lineups on DraftKings with four Atlanta players, but I had 7 out of my 150 on FanDuel with four Atlanta guys and 2 out of my 25 set with four Atlanta guys. So for whatever reason, maybe it's a little bit more viable on FanDuel, but that's still such a small portion of my exposures. But just to let you know that it's not viable, I guess.
yeah,
Magic Sixers. We'll start with the Orlando side. So actually, I want to start with Philadelphia because these guys are all pretty popular, and I think these are some of the better, along with Washington. Like this is where we're looking for value today. Um, like Trendon Watford, Justin Edwards, they're really hard to get away from, especially over on FanDuel at their prices. I'm over these percentages. I think I'm over on them on DraftKings too. Just these mid 4K guys that project around 20 points are going to look really good. We talked about Andre Drummond a little bit. I think we both love Maxi. And then I'm interested in Grimes and McCain. I got to Barlow and Walker too. I got to everybody here. I have a lot of lineups with four Philadelphia players, though. What do you think about that?
yeah. I'm checking as well. Yeah, I have a couple with four, but yeah, I like all these guys. You took so many bodies out of the rotation. Edge comes also out. Bona, Oubre, Embiid, Paul George, like they're pretty tight. And Nick Nurse likes to run tight rotation, so Maxi looks like he's pretty much going to have the team to himself. Really like Maxi. And then, yeah, I'm getting to a lot of the other guys too. Drummond, I think, looks pretty solid. McCain's kind of one of my bigger stands. If he only shows up at 16%, I'll be about double the field. So, pretty into McCain. Trendon Watford, like you've seen him almost put in triple doubles, even in limited minutes. And we don't have a lot of value plays that can do that. So, I do like Watford as well. Grimes, assuming he starts. I'm actually getting to a little bit less in the field, even though I have him projected really well. I think it just has to do with getting more stars and scrubs. Plus, I'm playing a ton of Suggs. And then Justin Edwards is the one I'd like to get away from. But as the slate sits right now, I still have quite a bit of Edwards.
Yeah, Edwards is the other guy that just his price is a little bit higher than those min price guys we were talking about, but his position and his median projection just work out so well. But I do agree if you can find a way to get away from Justin Edwards, I don't hate it. Model kind of likes him though, considering he's not as owned as the other guy, so I don't hate it. And I made a mistake when I said I have a lot of Philadelphia four stacks. I have some Philadelphia four stacks, not a lot though. I have a lot of Washington four stacks over on DraftKings.
Me too.
Yeah, Paul, you were talking about the steals and blocks being worth 3 on FanDuel. Yeah, it kind of makes it so that any player is just capable of putting up a little bit higher score than usual if they go crazy on stocks that day. And Hawks are a team that get a lot of stocks. Anything else you wanted to mention on Philadelphia?
No, I think we're good. I don't think Jabari Walker plays enough to really matter. And then Barlow, I guess, is at least in play on FanDuel. 4,200 power forward eligibility. He seems fine, but not someone I'm like building my lineup around.
Did you allow Jabari Walker in your player pool?
No, not on DraftKings. FanDuel, no, I didn't either.
Okay, I allowed him and I got 0, so he's pretty far off. And like 2.0 off index, I don't think I've ever seen a player with this poor of a score on here.
Yeah, it's pretty bad.
On the other side of this game, Orlando. So Philadelphia is pretty popular, and it's not that Orlando is unpopular, but I feel like they should be like the field is kind of not getting to them as much as maybe they deserve today. This is a great matchup for them going against Philadelphia. It's a tight spread, like we mentioned the NBA Cup stuff. Other than Jalen Suggs, like who are you looking at on Orlando?
Yeah, as gross as it is, I do think Bane's actually a pretty good play on FanDuel especially, but he's also getting more ownership there. But even on DraftKings, I think he's good to get to. If we get Goga out, I like Wendell Carter even more, but I do like Wendell Carter Jr. I think he's a pretty solid play at the center position. And then you have like the Anthony Black, Tristan Da Silva. Assuming we do get Goga out, I like these guys even more. If Da Silva's shooting well, they'll let him play extended minutes. So I do think even at 5K on DraftKings, I think he's still a good play. And then Black is who will close if De Silva's not shooting well. It's possible they both close. So I think they're both really good plays, and they have volatility, which is good for tournaments.
Yep, I'm with you on a De Silva. I was a little disappointed because I thought Anthony Black would be one of my guys today, but the model is not really identifying him as any kind of outstanding value play, and we just have other cheaper guys. But I still kind of really like him. I don't think the ownership is too high. But as for De Silva, we've been talking about him, I think, every time Orlando's on the slate. It's worked out a couple times. He's burned us a couple times, but at this 5K price, this is probably still a little bit too. I think it's a little bit too cheap for him starting in this role he's been at. I get that the minutes are kind of up and down, so maybe it's appropriate. But 13% ownership, model's telling us he's one of the better value plays on the slate. Like overall, Tristan De Silva being right here, like he's the lowest owned guy out of all the other top value plays. So I'm pretty into getting over on Tristan De Silva. I'm not like jamming him in to where my whole day depends on him, but I am over the field.
Yeah, yeah, that's about where I'm at too. One other name I will mention if Goga does get ruled out is Jonathan Isaac. Wouldn't play him if Goga's in, but if
He just got
Goga's
out.
out, uh,
Jonathan Isaac just got ruled out right now.
Jonathan Isaac.
Yeah, like one
Wow,
minute
I
ago.
didn't even know he was questionable.
Yeah,
Oh, never
I
mind.
don't. Yeah, I missed that one too.
Well
He
then,
was
Noah Pinda if Goga's out.
was Goga. Did they take him off? Was he added to the injury report late?
Yeah, he was added late
Okay.
with the ankle, I think, or something like that.
Okay, nice. And for Washington, Marvin Bagley was out too. That's why we were talking about Vucevic.
Yep.
Yeah, Jonathan Isaac out. There's another boost to De Silva. So we did
Yeah,
have Jonathan Isaac in here. He was going to be a terrible play for 11 minutes, but I mean, we already had De Silva for 29. I don't know. Maybe our projection goes up a couple more. I think this is a pretty good projection for him though, because if I give him 29 minutes, I get a ton of Tristan De Silva, and with the potential for more, that just is more reason to want to get to him.
yeah. I think his like even if he's not shooting well, his role is still really secure. They do have Orlando Robinson. He's min price 3K. Probably going to play the backup center if Goga's out. So you could do worse. Not someone I'm jamming, but without Isaac, I do think his path is a little more available.
And I'm interested in Wendell Carter Jr. as a center play at this mid 5K price. As long as he's under 6K, I'm probably going to be interested almost every day. On this three gamer, he's only projected for 18%. That's a little more interesting on DraftKings where we can play two centers. So throw it out there. Wendell Carter, model projection for a pretty good value today.
Yeah, I think he looks good.
Last game on the slate, we got Clippers versus my Lakers. Clippers, Kawhi Leonard is back tonight. Do you remember? Did they talk about a minutes restriction or anything yet?
No, I think it's kind of more like a soft minutes cap.
Okay. So we have him for 27. I don't know. You could probably give him a couple more because at 27 minutes, you're not really going to get any exposure to him, which is probably okay. Are you okay not getting to Kawhi tonight?
Yeah, yeah, I have zero Kawhi.
Okay. And then Jordan Miller, Brad Beal, Derek Jones are out, and Bogdanovich is questionable. Chris Paul is basically out of the rotation. It's so sad to see this guy only getting this garbage time. Like he announced his retirement, I think, right?
Yeah, after this season.
Love Chris Paul, man. This is like one of the
I know
guys
it's
from when I
sad.
was in high school. But we do have no good value plays on this team. Zubac is showing up as the best value on FanDuel at 7,200. I think that's a great price. This 29% ownership makes sense. I think that's fine. Even over on DraftKings, I was getting slightly over. Oh, no, slightly over this 13% on DraftKings. You like Zubac, right?
Yeah, yeah, I think he's good. FanDuel, really good play. DraftKings, more of a tournament play, but you take out Aiton, and this defense is not very good. So they ran the offense through him last time, a ton of paint touches. So I don't mind going to Zoo, even at 7,900.
And with James Harden, with Kawhi's return, I'm actually way over the field on Harden over on FanDuel and on DraftKings. Barely got there over on DraftKings. But what do you want to do with Harden? Could we look at him as kind of a not great pivot off of Maxi?
Yeah, yeah, I like Harden. If this game's going to stay competitive, it's probably not because of Kawhi. It's probably because of Harden. So pretty into Harden. And also, like I mentioned, this defense is just pretty bad. Like you stick LeBron out there now, it gets even worse. So I think
Thanks.
sorry, but I think guards against the Lakers is definitely a thing. So I'm pretty into Harden, not just because of that, but he's been playing well. The minutes have been there, and then like I said, this game's really important. So you could see his minutes pushed up to 36, even possibly 37 minutes.
Yeah, I pulled up on the on the screen here the difference between Tyrese Maxey and James Harden, and like Tyrese Maxey wins. Just looking at it anyway, even at the higher ownership, I think Maxey still edges him out. So Harden would just be a pivot.
Yeah,
Um, Oh, not Philadelphia. We're looking at Clippers. Another note for Zubac Aiton's out tonight on the Lakers side, and Jackson Hayes is basically the only center on the roster. I'm hoping Smitty has an answer for what the Lakers are going to do with the rotation tonight. But that's just another positive to want to get to Zubac. And I don't know that James Harden is like getting layups like he used to, but it's like no paint protection for us tonight. So the paint is wide open for this whole Clippers team.
yeah. Yeah, I think they all look pretty good. Mainly Zoo and Harden. Don't mind Chris Dunn. Other than that, like I'd rather get away from John Collins and all the secondary pieces.
Yeah, the Clippers are basically like I have no one more than Zubac is the guy I have the most on DraftKings. I guess I'm right with the field right now, but no one else is over 5% for me. Chris Dunn, I was looking at over on FanDuel, though, especially if Bogdanovich gets rolled out. Maybe that's a couple more minutes for Chris Dunn, but I think he's also a possible pivot at value at this 4K price, 3 and 7%, especially on FanDuel. We had that chatter mention that blocks and steals being worth 3. It's really valuable for a guy like Chris Dunn, especially when we're getting to get him at like 1/10 of the ownership of the other value plays on the slate. So the model isn't really projecting him as good value, but at 3 and 7%, we can definitely take some shots there.
Yeah, and it's possible he even sees more minutes going against Luca, LeBron, Reeves. You're kind of going to want Dunn out there. Derek Jones is out, so they need his on-ball defense. So it's possible his minutes are even a little light.
Let's round out the slate with my Lakers. We got Luka Doncic actually projected for decent ownership at 25 and 30%. I have no idea how the field is getting to 25 and 30% of Luka because it was so difficult for me to even get that much. But Reeves, LeBron projected to be pretty popular. I'm not sure about this one. What do you think about LeBron's ownership at 32%, 8,700?
Yeah, I actually like LeBron. Played 34 minutes last time, and then this game actually means something. So I don't mind getting to LeBron. I wouldn't say that he's like my building block or anything, but where I can get to him, I do think he's fine. Finding it pretty hard to get to on DraftKings, but FanDuel definitely easier with small forward eligibility as well.
All right, you talked me into it.
I just think part of the reason behind it is just extra rebounds to go around. No Aiton, possible you see LeBron even play some small ball five, even though it'd be difficult against Zoo. Just we don't really know the situation, so I do think it's pretty good.
The extra rebounds is part of the reason why I was okay bumping up Luka an extra fantasy point or two.
Yeah,
It applies
that's
to both of them.
that's how I am with both of them.
I don't know. I'm at 1 and 2% LeBron right now. Get a little bit more on your recommendation. What about Austin Reeves? Model's not really identifying him as any kind of value either, but he's pulling a little bit of ownership around this 8K price.
Yeah, I'm actually under on him. I think he's fine. I mean, I'd rather get to Luca, of course, but I don't mind getting to Reeves. It's kind of a different roster construction, so I do think you could build with him.
I mean, assuming this game stays close, which I'm pretty sure. Oh, the line's not listed here. Do you have the line on this game pulled up?
I think it's like 5.5.
In the Lakers' favor, right?
Yeah,
You never know sometimes. But we have Reeves projected for 35 minutes. He doesn't look like a great value. We can't project him for 40, but he did get up to 40 in a tight game against Utah. If this game stays close, I don't know, maybe especially with 8 now, like we saw JJ Redick has no problem running Austin Reeves out 40 minutes. I know LeBron was out for these games. Luka was probably out for a couple of these too, but I'd be okay getting to Reeves. I'm still a little surprised he's pulling so much ownership though.
yeah, yeah. Same goes for Luca too. We've seen his minutes get really elevated in tight games, so I'm fine with bumping Luca as well.
As for the value from this team, I would love to be interested in Laravia if he was 4K. Really hard to get there today. It's just with 8 and out, he's a guy who could step up. We haven't been giving Vanderbilt minutes. I don't know what happened to him, man. He's gone now. But I mean, he's on the roster. We don't have him projected for 10 minutes though. That's why Vanderbilt's not in the model. We have Maxi Kleber projected for 15 minutes. Is this like too deep?
I don't know if he was any better, like in terms of fantasy. Like he's a pretty decent real player, but in terms of fantasy, he's not very good. So I think you could probably give him 20 minutes, and I still don't know if he'd really show up. But he's someone you'd have to force in. I don't think it's too deep though. Like I wouldn't mind getting to a couple percent. Any kind of foul trouble or anything for Hayes, and he's the one who benefits.
Yeah, I don't think I'm going to end up getting there on the main slate. And honestly, probably not even on the night slate. Maybe I'll put like minimum 5% in my 20 set so I get one lineup with him. But on the showdown, I don't know what his price is. That's where he could probably be interesting. What about Marcus Smart, Gabe Vincent, or Rui? I'll talk about Jackson Hayes separately.
I don't have any of them in my lineups.
Yeah, I got. Actually, I did get a little bit of Rui, so I guess I don't hate that. And then I had to force in some Jackson Hayes to get any over on DraftKings, but the model's telling us he's a decent value. I'm just going to pull up values by center. He's a second best. Nope, it's not right. He is the fifth best center value, but he's like the only value-y one other than Tristan Vukcevic that we're really projecting for minutes today. I guess Dominic Barlow too, but the model likes him even less. So Jackson Hayes, I don't hate mixing him in. Maybe it's a slightly different roster construction if you go value at center, which helps because we're going to be playing a lot of chalk today.
Yeah, I don't mind playing him when he's lowish owned. Like everyone's kind of just guessing on the minutes, but last time he started, he played 30. Now that LeBron's back, people assume he's going to play less minutes, but it's possible they just run him out there for 30 minutes again. So I don't mind that in tournaments.
We just don't. We don't have a center. We don't have another center without DeAndre Ayton.
No.
Hayes is not a phenomenal fantasy producer though, so he could for sure fail even if he got like 26 minutes. But at his ownership, I'm definitely going to take the risk and just hope he balls out.
Yep.
Oh, Paul, I'm glad you mentioned this. Yeah, the Wizard or the Magic did something really weird in their last game where they were down by a bunch in the fourth quarter. They pulled the starters, and then the bench actually kind of came back. Jace Richardson and it's Jamal. Is it Jamal Kane? Is that
Yeah.
who's on the Magic? Yeah, and they was it Kane or Richardson? One of them, because if you look at the top five like highest scores in a quarter this season, one of those guys did it in that fourth quarter. It was
Oh, yeah.
Richardson or Kane. We don't have him projected for any minutes. I doubt that that performance is going to do enough to change the rotation. But that's interesting to mention.
Yeah.
Zubac versus Jackson Hayes, good matchup. Yeah, man, Zubac's going to be fried chicken with Jackson Hayes dunking on him and Luka lobs. The douche likes Chris Dunn. Yeah, we're interested in Chris Dunn at that low ownership. Smitty, do you like Koulibaly or De Silva more?
De Silva.
I think I like De Silva too, but I recognize Koulibaly could have a little more opportunity to earn those extra minutes with Keyshawn George out, especially.
Yeah.
The Lakers signed Drew Timmy. I don't, I don't even know if he's going to be in uniform tonight. Maybe he would be now, though. That would be an interesting one. If anyone has any like solid news on Timmy being active tonight, please throw that in there. I actually didn't think about that. Lakers 6.5 point favorites. Nice. It was Jet Howard. That's who it was on the Magic, not those other guys. Yeah, like another random. I don't want to call him a no namer. That's kind of disrespectful, but I don't think those guys are relevant to tonight's slate, even though they went off last time. Smitty, you leaning Vukcevic or Hayes on FanDuel?
Probably Hayes.
Yeah, I think Hayes too. I'll sort by FanDuel center values. Watford's center eligible. He's the best value over there, but the true centers are Carter, Hayes, Zubac, and then Vukcevic is way down here at 17 projected minutes on FanDuel. It's tougher to get there at that 4,300 price. He's a much different play.
Yeah. I'll have a lot of Zoo, but I don't mind mixing some others in.
All right, let's build a dummy and get out of here. Who is your first player in the dummy?
I think we have to go with Jalen Johnson.
I agree. And then what's your top two value plays on DraftKings?
Probably Kispert, and then mine's Cam Whitmore, but Kispert and
I'm on board with Whitmore.
Okay, let's do that.
Yeah, we'll put Kispert at shooting guard, Cam Whitmore. These two were actually in the lineup I took down the minimax with on Saturday, Kispert and Whitmore. That worked out.
You got to run it.
Yeah, Kispert was like 2% owned that day. He's not going to be 2% owned today.
Yeah. We both really like Suggs.
Yeah, let's get Suggs a point guard over here.
Yeah.
Yeah, point guard only actually. And then what do we want to try at center? Because I'm open to all options in Zubac, Sar, Porzingis. I could be talked into Drummond, Wendell Carter, Jackson Hayes.
Um, that's tough because my first thought is Porzingis, but then Sar is he shows better in the model and he's half the ownership. So I kind of like going with Sar.
Let's make this pivot since we're playing a pretty chalky dummy here. I wanted to see if we could fit in Maxi in the other guard spot. That leaves us 4,300 per position. Favorite forward value play?
Forward. Let's see. And there's Champagne.
Champagne?
Yeah, that's a lot of Washington.
Yeah, but they're all. That's the thing though about playing
Yeah, they're
two of
all
these
so
wash
cheap.
ties. Like they don't even total 9. I can't do math right now. It's very low though. Like their
Yeah.
combined price is less than Luca's. So we'll do 3,200 Champagne. The other guys I were going to throw out there were two guys I mentioned were harder to get away from on FanDuel in Trendon Watford and Justin Edwards.
Yeah, I do like Watford.
Yeah, Watford would be fine, and then Champagne, Tristan da Silva are other value guys showing up. So those guys are all fine. Leaves us 5,400. We could get to da Silva, leave 400 on the table. That's not fine. I saw a comment asking if it was okay to leave 300. Do you think it's okay to leave 300 today, Smitty?
Yeah, I think that's fine.
Like I think it's fine, but like salary is kind of tight today. With I guess it's not. We have a ton of value plays. Yeah, 300 is fine. I wouldn't want to leave much more than that. Like maybe 400 would be the most I'd consider leaving.
Yeah.
It's not really another player. I mean, Anthony Black could be another option, Koulibaly, or we could just upgrade someone here. Like, let's say we take out Champagne, gives us a couple hundred more. Let's throw in Watford there, leaves us 4,100. Chris Dunn, there you go. This is a low-owned large field. This is taking down the 100K today. I'm not playing it, so whoever's watching this and plays it, congrats. Smitty, we like McCain.
Yeah, I still like McCain.
Pretty interested in McCain. Yeah, he played 25 minutes in the last game, 26 actually. It's a decent spot. What did we have him projected for? I think we had him projected pretty well though. Yeah, we have him at 25, and he's shown up as a okay value. So I'm not really thinking he has much potential to play over 25. There's a lot of other guys here, but at 16 and 13%, 3,800. Remember, McCain was on his way to being the rookie of the year last year before he got hurt. Like he's better than Quentin Grimes, better than Justin Edwards, he's better than everyone here except for Tyrese Maxey. So don't mind getting McCain.
Yeah, and it seems like his shot's finally hitting, which is helping.
Yeah, shot 5 for 11. Imagine if he shoots 3 for 4 from 3. Yeah, just need some shots to go in. So, Smitty, anything else you want to mention before we get out of here?
No, I think we're good. Just monitor the lineups.
Yeah, we had a large audience today. Appreciate everybody tuning in, giving us a shot. We do have the new lineup builder on the site. If you want to play with that, you can sign up for the site. Plans that you can sign up for just a week. The lineup builder is part of a separate package, though. It's not part of the $1 a day that I always advertise on here. But $1 a day does get you access to all the plugs and the models. We have a Thanksgiving NFL slate coming up on Thursday, so that should be a good one. Appreciate everybody tuning in. I'll be in the Discord in about 5 minutes. Instructions to join that are in the description below. Basically going to be talking about the same stuff that we talked about on here, but maybe if there's late news, we'll get into that. So good luck today. Let's ship a tournament.